Hi everyone, this is Jake from Gas Guzzlers, and before the video begins, I just want to apologize for not uploading any videos. As we told you before, Cole and I are off at college right now, and we pre-recorded a bunch of videos to go up. Unfortunately, most of them were lost due to some sort of computer error. This one we were able to recover, so I'm posting this. We're going to work on recording videos over our breaks. Thank you for sticking with us through this, guys. We know we haven't communicated with you, and that might have been frustrating, but we just really want to thank you guys for sticking with the channel. We're going to make more videos when we're on breaks and post them. So thank you so much for watching this video, for watching all of our videos, subscribing and supporting our channel. It really means a lot, guys, and we're going to be posting again soon. All right, thank you so much and enjoy the video. Let's say you wanted a Chevy Camaro, but you wanted 4 doors. And you wanted to be able to take your kids to soccer practice. You wanted a large usable trunk, 4-wheel drive, maybe some nice interior options. You'd end up with this. I mean, that sounds pretty horrible, right? That combination of Camaro styling with an SUV body. It sounds horrible, but the result actually might not be. This, my friends, is the 2019 Chevy Blazer. Now, a big thanks to Kuhn, Chevy, Buick, GMC for letting us take a look at this vehicle, especially Eric. Their website will be in the description below. And if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel for car reviews. We are currently putting out bi-weekly car reviews as we are in college, and these videos are pre-recorded, just so you know, but we will do our best to put out weekly videos when we can. So let's start with the hood of this vehicle. I find it a very attractive front fascia overall, but the hood has these neat bending lines through it that give it some interesting depth. I like how these lines sort of come out from here and they go around to the side of the vehicle, and this line right here, this one in particular, will go down the rest of the vehicle. I do quite like that. Now, moving down from your hood, you have a light up Chevy badge. This is a $400 option, but it is so cool. If you get a Blazer, you have to get this. You do have this dark chrome right here. I like how it blends into your headlights. It's almost hard to tell where the chrome ends and where the headlights begin. They're very nicely melded together. Your headlights themselves are very thin. They almost remind me of Tesla Model X headlights, the way they just slightly curve down and you just have that little strip right there. You have more laying down here. I like how the bodywork sort of folds down here and comes together. It's almost like you have a little circle of bodywork within more bodywork. Now, this right here is where it really looks like a Camaro. This is pretty much a Camaro grille. You do have some RS badging, and you do have some sharp pointing down here, which is something a lot of Chevys do. Overall, it's a very attractive front of the vehicle, and I do quite like it. Let's start with the hood of this vehicle. I find it a very attractive front fascia overall, but the hood has these neat bending lines through it that give it some interesting depth. I like how these lines sort of come out from here and they go around to the side of the vehicle, and this line right here, this one in particular, will go down the rest of the vehicle. I do quite like that. Now, moving down from your hood, you have a light up Chevy badge. This is a $400 option, but it is so cool. If you get a Blazer, you have to get this. You do have this dark chrome right here. I like how it blends into your headlights. It's almost hard to tell where the chrome ends and where the headlights begin. They're very nicely melded together. Your headlights themselves are very thin. They almost remind me of Tesla Model X headlights, the way they just slightly curve down and you just have that little strip right there. You have more laying down here. I like how the bodywork sort of folds down here and comes together. It's almost like you have a little circle of bodywork within more bodywork. Now, this right here is where it really looks like a Camaro. This is pretty much a Camaro grille. You do have some RS badging, and you do have some sharp pointing down here, which is something a lot of Chevys do. Overall, it's a very attractive front of the vehicle, and I do quite like it. So here we are at the side of the vehicle, and I really like this blacked out look. Now, down here you have your black wheels. These are part of the $2,500 Sun and Wheel package. They're 21-inch wheels wrapped in 265 tires. You may not be able to see it, but this black Blazer badge right here, you have black on black on black. You have these black mirrors right here that are very cool looking. As we continue to move back, the only thing that really interrupts the black look of this side profile is this chrome button right here that you have for your proximity key. As you continue moving back, you can just see the sloping roofline. I really like the body lines on this vehicle. I like this body line that starts towards the front of the vehicle and it slopes up like this. I think that's a very neat look as it slopes up to the rear of the vehicle. And you also have your taillights that sort of bleed onto the side of the car, which I do like. Now you do have a floating roofline on this vehicle, and it is the type of floating roofline that I don't like, where it just gets super skinny and it's just a piece of plastic. It does not look bad on this black vehicle because you can't tell it's there. However, on a different color, I don't really like it. Overall, I still think it's a good looking vehicle though. At the back of the vehicle, you're going to find a very aggressive sloping design. You do have this pretty large rear spoiler, which does have some nice depth to it. It goes up and down like that, which I like, and it just comes out a far way from the top of the vehicle to where the tailgate ends. There's maybe like 1.5 feet of room here. So you have very aggressively sloped rear glass. I do like the shaping, just the overall molding and design. You have this very strong line right here, and your taillights look good. They sort of remind me of Lamborghini taillights, these Ys right here, and I think Hyundai does a similar thing on the Veloster. Your reverse lights look a little dated, however, they do the job they tell people when you're reversing, which is fine. Behind the Blazer's power tailgate, you're gonna find this nice little storage rack right here, which you can move back and forth to secure your items. Now, you're gonna get about 30 cubic feet of storage space with the seats up and a closer 64 with the seats down. Under the hood, you're gonna find this V6 engine pumping out 308 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. You can expect 18 miles to the gallon city, along with 25 highway for a combined total of 21 miles to the gallon. And also this can tow a surprising amount, 4,500 pounds. Quite impressive for such a small SUV. So my overall interior impressions of this vehicle are pretty good. It is certainly very Camaro-esque with this sort of hexagonal sort of screen shape right here, along with these two big air vents down here. Now these seats are pretty comfy. These red perforated seats are specific to the RS model. They feel pretty comfy, not as comfy as the Tahoe we recently reviewed, but they're definitely stiffer, but they still feel good. You have nice red stitching everywhere, definitely showing that you're in the RS model. Also special to the RS model, you have these red sort of circles around a lot of your air vents, which is very neat. I like that you have soft touch right here. This right here is hard touch, but overall it's a pretty nice interior for 50 grand. I would say it's average for 50 grand actually. This is sort of what you would expect, not much more, not much less. The grab handle right here, I would like if it was fully wrapped in leather. It is plastic on the back, but it is an interesting shape. I like how it works with this chrome right here to form sort of this interesting off square design. You do have sort of a black accent right here that could get dirty, but I'm not sure. And you have nice grab handles that feel good. There is a large plastic chunk on your door. Other than those minor things though, it's a pretty nice interior. The driver's area of the Blazer feels pretty good. I already mentioned the seats, which feel nice. Your steering wheel, I'm gonna make the same comment I make on pretty much all Chevy trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. It feels a little scratchy, and I would prefer it be a bit thicker. However, they do make up for that in other areas. You have this nice metal running around the steering wheel, which I think looks nice. You also have this red stitching on the inside, reminding you that you have the sportier RS model. These black buttons right here will control your driver infotainment gauge cluster, which we will talk about a bit more in the future. And you also have a heated steering wheel button here, along with some buttons on your left to control your active safety systems. There's not a whole lot more to say here, other than you do have an electronic parking brake right here, which was kind of odd for me because I was looking for one in the center console or like a foot brake. I just didn't look up here. But again, everything here looks nice, and it looks like it belongs in a $50,000 crossover. Here's the center area of the Blazer, and as you can see, it's a pretty good looking system. You do have those two analog gauges, and now the screen sort of bleeds into those analog gauges. So you can see part of the chrome circle running around them just houses additional screen, which is sort of neat. Now that is controlled on your steering wheel by this system right here. So these buttons go left and right, the scroll wheel goes up and down. So you can see you traditionally have your speed, and you just have nothing out of the usual. There aren't any special out of the way monitors or anything right here that I feel I need to point out to you. It's just the traditional system you would expect. You have your black Chevy bow tie there, which is pretty nice. And just so you can see, there's no heads-up display, which is something I would like to see at this price point, but this is how it is looking out of the vehicle. Now let's talk about your center area. We're going to come to your infotainment in a bit, but first we're just going to talk about the utility parts of this. You can see you have this large row of buttons right here. I like that they have these little silver accents sort of splitting up every 3 buttons. Most of these are just climate control buttons. You do have controls for your heated and cooled seats. Now you might see right here, this is an indicator for your temperature, but there are no temperature gauges here. Why is that? That's because the vents themselves are your temperature gauges. So you can see as I turn here, right above it, that number is changing. So you do have different climate controls for your left and right side. Now moving down from that, you have buttons for your fan control, which sort of move these little yellow buttons up and down. I usually prefer a knob for my fan speed. However, this is fine. And again, they have more of that silverish material splitting it up. Now you do have these 2 big air vents right here, which are very neat, again with that red trim. And I did mention that these are your temperature controls. The air conditioning feels very good in here. These vents are a little stiff and hard to move around. Now in between that, you have your USB-A and USB-C port. I find it kind of interesting that they're vertically positioned like that. It's not a good or bad thing, I just find it interesting. Then below that, you have your wireless phone charger, which is sort of neat. You can just throw your phone down there, and that's a nice rubberized padding material right there. And on the left and right, you can see you do have some more RS stitching. Now moving back from that, you have this nice chromy material right here that also runs around your cup holders and this right here. And then surrounding that chromy material is this gray black plastic. It's not piano black, it's like a speckled gray plastic is how I would describe it. You have a shifter right here. I like seeing a shift knob like this. After being in so many vehicles with turn knobs and whatnot, it is nice to see this. The Blazer does have a 9-speed automatic transmission. You can see you have special RS badging on this one along with red stitching. The overall feel as you shift into gear is pretty good. You can definitely tell that you are doing something mechanical and it feels good. Behind that, you have some safety controls for your parking and your lane keep assist, and you also have your all-wheel drive controls. Currently the vehicle is in 2-wheel drive, but you have 4-wheel drive, a sport mode, more off-roading, trailering mode, etc. So overall, this is a very good looking center area. I find it visually appealing, and I like that Chevy did some creative things like they did with the air vents. Let's real quick look at your center console before we move to your infotainment. You can see we have this red stitching again. I like that there is some depth to the leather. This leather here and this leather here are separated by this lower strip in the middle. I do quite like that. Opening it up, this is very well hinged. It's very light. It pretty much lifts itself. It's not a large compartment, which is something you wouldn't expect in a medium-sized crossover. You can see you do have your cigarette outlet right there, along with USB-C, USB-A, and an SD card for your navigation. Now looking up here, you do have your infotainment screen. If you have seen any of our other GM videos where we reviewed a vehicle with this system, you will know we are big fans of this system. It is very snappy. I have no real complaints about it whatsoever. You do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in this vehicle, and one thing I always like to show off is the camera system. There are just so many different camera angles, some of which do work better than others. This one in particular is very helpful. This shows where your front wheels are, so this can help you make sure that you don't scratch up against any curbs or whatever. That is a very cool feature. You do have a physical home button that will always take you back here. Overall, you know, I'm a big fan of the system. Moving up from that, you have your rear view mirror. Now, a lot of you have probably seen this in high-end GM vehicles, but for those of you that haven't, you might see it's kind of weird because you don't see a camera looking at you. If this is a mirror and we're filming it, theoretically you should see a camera, but this is not really a mirror. This is a video screen with a feed from the back of the vehicle, and the benefit of this is just that you don't have your headrest or anything in your view. You can click this right here, and there you all are. And then up from that, you do have controls for your sunroof. You do have a big sunroof that goes across the whole vehicle in here, which is pretty nice. And one thing I want to mention real quick, if we can move the camera back down here, is again, you do see some Camaro influence with the shape of your screen. And to the right of that, you have a button labeled glove box. That's because there is no physical button to open your glove box. Instead, is this one over here, and it's all done digitally. Overall, a very cool, well-executed interior. Now, entering the back of the Blazer is quite easy. This door opens almost to 90 degrees, which is very nice. So I can easily get in as a tall guy, and I can easily sit behind myself. This seat is actually further back than I would sit. Just the last person that drove this vehicle left it here, and I still have plenty of legroom, so you can easily fit tall adults in the front and the back, which is quite nice. Closing your door right here, you do have a heated seat button on your armrest, which is kind of nice. I wish that wasn't there though, because your finger kind of naturally rests on it. It'd be nice if this was just a flat material. Also, it would be nice if it wasn't just hard plastic, but still, it's a nice area to be back here. You do have air vents back here with this smoky metal around them, along with a USB-C, USB-A port, and you also have your household power outlet. Other features back here, you do have this cup holder which folds out and is quite nice. I like that they have the piece of cloth right here that comes out to make sure that it's not just leaving a gap that things can fall in and get lost. And then also just, Colin, can you show them what the sunroof looks like from back here? I'm not sure if we can really get it on camera, but it does make the vehicle feel much bigger. So that's it for this video. A big thanks to Koons Chevy Buick GMC of Clarksville, especially Eric, for letting us take a look at this vehicle. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now, we are working on currently making a rating system for vehicles that we review. If you have any ideas for criteria that you would like us to take a look at, leave a comment below and let us know, and we will be sure to try to incorporate it. Thank you. Have an awesome 2 weeks. We'll see you in our next video.